Hi and welcome back to my channel. Today I'd like to share how I made this pocket journal. I used a lot of jelly prints for it and also some other painted papers, but as I have so many, I thought it would be a nice idea to create a little journal. I have a sewn cover here from fabric. This was just the usual cotton fabric. On the inside I used a deco fabric, and to make it more stable I added a piece of cardboard from a packaging into the fabric. I sewed a pocket on the front and on the back, and then I put in the cardboard, and then I sewed it on the top. I just didn't add any cardboard to the spine of the book, and that's where I'm going to adhere the pages. I will not make a fabric cover today because I know that not everyone has a sewing machine. We will make just a simple cover that you can make with a piece of cardstock. And here are the papers that I've already cut and sorted out that I thought they might match well together. And these were almost every paper was an A4 sized paper, and I just cut it into 3 pieces, and I'm using these papers for 2 books, for the one you just saw and for the others. As always, I've recorded this in German, so sometimes I don't know what I was explaining there. I have picked papers with also some white on them. They are, as I said, mainly jelly prints, or one was a printed paper. And I also try to mix the size a little bit. So they are all 21 centimeters wide, but they have different heights. Of course, you can also change their width so that you have shorter and longer pages, but I just, to make it easy, I just kept everything with the same width. And now I'm arranging the papers just in the order I want them to be in my journal later. I try to avoid having white on white, so I'm searching for jelly prints that have something on the back, which is often the case. And I check if I like it. It's nice if the front of your book, when you open the journal, looks pretty, and I think these 2 papers match pretty well. And I also make sure that I mix the sizes a bit, so I have smaller and larger pages all mixed together. I take care that the colors are matching up a bit, and yeah, that's all I'm doing. I haven't counted the pages, but maybe you can whilst watching the video. I just did this intuitively. Maybe I will count the papers later and write it in the video description. But it's just an intuitive process for me. I didn't measure anything, and I did not count how many papers I have. Of course, if you have too many, you will soon notice when you want to sew them together that it's just not so easy. I now will fold the whole stack of papers in the middle, and I do it with all the papers together. I would not fold each paper separately and then stuck it into each other, because you need kind of a bigger fold on the outside than on the inside, and that's a great way to make this. I'm clipping these together to make sure they don't fall apart. And here I'm having a piece of vegan leather. You can also use a piece of cardstock or a piece of leather, or you can use that kind of fabric piece that I have made for the other journal. And I'm folding this around as well. I also haven't measured it. I just laid the papers on top of it and then made a line and cut it out. That the cover is pretty the same size as my papers. I don't really mind if something stands out or not. To bind this book, I will use a needle, and I will make 3 stitches with a thicker thread, and I will show you how easy that is. I lay a thick foam underneath my book, and I use a needle tool to poke a hole through the whole stack of papers. And then I will go through with my needle and the thread just to make sure that they don't come apart. And then I will keep on making my holes with that needle. I again don't measure anything, I just do it in a way where I think it fits or it's right. It's not important that everything is measured out. And now I come from the back side and come back in, and then I go back out at the spine and will come back in the middle hole, and I try to come out on the other side of the center thread that is in the book, and then I will tie it on top of that to make sure that it cannot fall apart. Yes, and that's it. I will also make a closure for this book because it always pops up. But first I want to flip through it so you can see how the final book is turning out. And I think it's quite an easy way to make an art journal. And it's also a great way to use up some of these many jelly prints. I don't know how it's with you, but I have so many laying here, and I've just started printing all of them also on the back side because I have a bunch of them that are white on the back, and I prefer if they have something on them. So I just started making printing sessions for the back sides. If you want more papers in one book, you of course can make more signatures. That means you make more of these stacks of folded papers, not just this one. You make a second or a third one, and then you make just a wider spine and sew them in one after the other. I have one of those, but I felt that when you fill it and you come to the last pages, it gets so bulky and thick that playing in it does not make fun anymore, and I stopped using it. So I will stay with these thinner journals. It will get bulky enough once you start filling it with paint and paper and collage. And here I'm going to make a closure. You can use, for example, a button or how is it called? I can't remember, a brad, so a deco brad. I've used it for the other journal and I will soon show it how it is working. I maybe will use a button here, but as I have to sew it onto the cover, I will wait until I have painted the cover. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it, but I will just throw on a little bit of paint and I will give you the photos of the finished cover at the end of this video and also in my blog post. And here I just go through all the buttons I have, and I have quite some nice ones. So I'm sure I will use one of these once the cover is finished. For the book with the fabric cover, I just used these brads, one of them, and I think I will show it to you soon. Yeah, and then I tied a thread, a thicker or ribbon, a thicker thread or ribbon around the bread, and then you can use it as a closure. And what I also did to make it a bit more special, I tied these ribbons into the thread on the back side of the spine. And that's quite a nice idea to make the journal look more interesting. I did this here, but I will not do it on the black cover. Well, maybe I will do it in the future, but not at the moment. Yes, and that's my video for today. Here is just the first page I've made in this journal, and I really enjoy working in it, and I think I will make some more to get rid of my papers, and I will show you the finished cover of the other journal now in some photos. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I wish you a wonderful Easter weekend, and I hope we will see us next time. Bye.